Good morning, everybody. This is our Astro Energy Forecast for the upcoming week. My name is Camille Craft. I'm the owner and creator of Vital Mystic, and we gather here every Tuesday to talk about the upcoming energy and how to best integrate it, how to use it, and so forth. And so now we are officially in December. We are through the gauntlet of eclipse season, Mercury retrograde, and now we just have this beautiful, what I see is just kind of like an energetic opening, right? The word portal, I think, is overused a lot. Um, but it's kind of that invitation, right? And so this next week, we have a full moon, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what that particular full moon means, how to use the energy of this week to prepare yourself for what is coming over the next couple of months. I'm going to scatter in a couple dates as well that are really important to know for the first week of January, especially if you are wanting to build your wealth. So, with that said, this week kicks us off right now. We are technically just a few days before the full moon. The full moon is on Thursday, December 4th. Hi. And ultimately, the moon right now is in Taurus. And when a waxing moon is in Taurus, it is incredible for manifesting money. It's incredible for creating self-worth. It's incredible for drawing in and bringing in experiences to compound wealth. And the reason why we say that is because Taurus is ruled by Venus, and it really brings this like kind of empress energy where it's almost this calming energy too. It's this very grounded, earthy type of energy. And when you're using it in your ritual cycles, depending on where Taurus is in your chart, that's how it will uniquely impact you. But Moon in Taurus, especially waxing right before a full moon, is incredibly powerful to sink your roots deeper into what you've already built. And what do I mean by that is a lot of times we can get caught up, oh, wait, when's the next thing? What's the next door? What's the next step? All of those things, instead of actually looking at the roots of the foundation that we have already created. And when you scale a business or, grow wealth or anything like that, as we know, the more nutritious things that you plant into the soil, the more it's going to compound over time. And the more things or nutrients that you add to that soil, the easier it is for your garden to grow. And so that's the analogy of what this time is. What are the things in your life that are already working without you having to reinvent the wheel or do something new? How can you reinvest in routines, daily habits, things that are already in your vortex, clients that are already in your space? How can you allow for that to feel like a nurturing garden? As far as ritual, we are still kind of coming out of the Mercury retrograde shadow, I think, until about December 13th. But with that said, with all of your knowledge and the things that you have integrated over the last couple of weeks, what is it that you want to truly spread or put more of your energy into, right? I talk a lot about investment, and investment can look like our time, our money, our energy, our thoughts, right? All of those things. And choosing how to invest right now is going to either compound or it's going to deplete you, right? It's going to extract you, and making sure that you're taking time right now to create those foundational decisions that this investment is going to go back into this cycle and it's going to nurture more of the soil versus something that like, oh, is this the right time for me to totally invest in something that may or may not pan out, right? So this comes down to the way that we invest in relationships, the way that we say yes to things, the way that we take care of our body, the way that we show up. It is all the things, right? And one of our greatest investments that we can make is actually in our beliefs. And, about 3.5 years ago, when I decided to go all in building Vital Mystic as a digital product and coaching platform, which it is now, I started working with a mentor who ran multi-billion corporations in the gaming industry, right? Never once did she work with me on strategy. She worked with me on my beliefs. And we worked on my beliefs for literally 3.5 years, and we still do sometimes. But the reason why I was so successful is because we pulled everything out from the root, right? We pulled out from the root the things that I was told about success, the things that, I thought I was capable of, the things that people like me were able to do. I was able to start looking at every single thing in my life as an initiation versus a punishment. And so, what it did is it completely transformed my identity and it allowed me to accelerate and make moves that people with no business experience weren't making, right? So, I was able to follow my intuition very, very quickly, recover from things that were opportunities for growth and integrate them very quickly. And I still, to this day, think that is the reason why I'm super successful. Obviously, the rituals and energetic portion has everything to do with it. But what I have found and what I see in clients and everything across the board is that if we are doing all this healing work and all this energy work and all this strategic work, but we still have that nagging voice from so and so back when who told us that we were never going to be successful, blah, 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 or whatever it was, guess what's going to keep coming up in your field until you recognize that you have the power to be successful, right? So when we start looking at these, and the reason why I'm saying this is because this full moon is going to show you the exact beliefs that are acting in opposition to your expansion. And the reason why I say that is because it's actually in the sign of Gemini. And so we have this moment right now where the moon is in one of its highest manifesting states, by the way, to root in and look at the soil. Look at what we are planting in. Is there something going on internally that is acting in opposition? Where am I like taking things on or not like being fully aware? Right. And just because we're out of Mercury retrograde, maybe some things came up and they showed you where some energy leaks were or some old stuff was, or maybe you would rather do something in a new way. That's the important part of retrogrades, right? That's a very important part of retrogrades. And it ultimately really helps us get clear on, okay, wait a minute, let me look at where I'm already standing. And so I talk a lot about the season of the archer and archery. And I don't know if you've ever done archery, but when you do archery, you have to make sure your entire body is aligned. Your hips have to be, square. Your feet have to be firmly planted on the ground. You have to have your core fully aligned, and then you aim your bow, right? And if your elbows a little wobbly or doing this, or your hips are going like this, it's going to completely shift the trajectory of where that arrow is going. So this full moon is saying, hey, 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 slow down, look within. And the beautiful part about this is that if we want that expansion, if we want those to reach to the stars, look at how you're holding yourself. Look at the way that the things that are actually moving forward. What are the things that actually need to land in the body? What are the results you've already created? What are the dreams you've already manifested? What are those things that have already come forward that might disprove those core root beliefs that always come up, that always show their face, right? And so I want you to ask yourself this full moon, is my internal narrative and are the beliefs actually going on in my head, right? Are they a match to where I'm going? Because if they're not, we need to pull that shit out by the root. And that's what this full moon is really about. Because what happens, Gemini rules as within, so without, as above, so below, right? And so when we can take the time to pause, look at our roots, right? Look at what is here for us, really do that deep weeding, then we can say, I see it now. I see the pattern. I see the part where I say that I'm too busy instead of actually leaning in. I see the part where I'm actually, negotiating my own time into things that light me up versus the things that I actually need to invest in that scare me. that's actually the piece, right? And so when we are aware of that, when we can move with the dance of duality, instead of saying, no, no, I only want things that feel good, we actually start to create a level of mastery, right? When we can dance with things that challenge us and also the things that light us up in the same way, that is a level of evolution and mastery so that you are constantly staying in your vortex. Yes, things might happen, shit might happen. Life is always going to life. That is just the reality of it. But the way that you hold yourself and the way that you move from that space, right? If something happens, what is the story that's coming up? What is the belief that's coming up? What is the peace that is coming up? Are you still holding in the back of your mind, well, the rug's going to get pulled out from under me, or something's going to happen, or this is not going to be my success thing, or whatever it is, right? Even if you have a big month, what does it naturally trigger? It naturally triggers, well, how the fuck do I keep going with this? Right? So, my invitation for you this full moon, and I will tell you why, is because this full moon will oppose the Sun, Venus, and Mars all in Sagittarius. And we have a really powerful conjunction with these three luminaries at the beginning of January. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. Ultimately, when we have that opposition, we're lighting up the shadow. So this full moon is going to light up everything that you need to see. Maybe one last go if we didn't get it in Mercury retrograde, but everything that you need to see so that you can reach for the stars. And sometimes seeing those things is not all fucking rainbows and butterflies. Sometimes it's like, fuck, I don't have capacity for that. Or wait, let me pause for a second. Or I have to say no to this opportunity because I'm saying yes to this thing. And so having that level of discernment and recognizing, okay, what is the belief? What are the structures of the mind? What are the communications of my daily invocations that I'm doing out loud or internally? How is that weaving the story of what's going to come? Because if I hold the belief that the rug is going to get pulled out from under me and that at any point all my money can disappear or whatever it is or whatever our thing is, or this person can disappear or this thing, guess what's going to happen? At some point, it might happen because our beliefs are holding that, right? So I want you to ask yourself under this full moon, if I all want to hold this result in my life, what are the beliefs that are triggered in that moment of when I go towards it? Right? And that's the space of duality and that's the space of mastery. It's not that we push them away. It's not that we push other things away. Hi, Megan. It's not that we push those things away. We integrate them. We use them. We say, hey, welcome. Thank you so much for showing me where I still need to have my work. Right? And a lot of times people say, well, I don't want to get triggered. And I'm like, well, that's fucking life. You know what I mean? I use every opportunity of triggering, of projection, of, wow, I feel like this is really pushing me. I use every opportunity to allow myself to move into that new level or move into a greater unveiling. And I start to use it as medicine, right? I start to use it as like that little scorpion tail or something along those lines that really helps me open. So under this full moon, that is the space that we're going to be given. And depending on where it hits for you, writing some things down, doing some reflections, watch what pops up for you. What is the story that popped up for you in, Mercury retrograde and eclipse season? What are those things that pop up? We can't hold a belief that all successful people suck and then also want success, right? So we want to look at what is the actual internal state and how can I allow myself to gain clarity between the shadow and the light? How can I allow for it all to be a version of love that I fuel my life and fuel my next steps with? And so I always talk about this because a lot of times we're like, no, we don't want those bad things to happen or those shitty things to happen or whatever. And I think about it and I'm like, wow, all the shitty things that have happened to me over my life have literally opened the doors for my success. And now I go back and now I'm a great mentor because those shitty things happened. I'm able to hold levels of wealth or rooms or chaos or things along those lines that I would have never been able to hold had I not been initiated in those things first. So with that presence, bring on the fucking triggers, bring it all on, because I know that there's a power inside of me and there's a power inside of you that is ready to meet it, that is greater than what those things can bring to your table. And so when we start to work with that and we start to understand that, literally you become invincible because nothing will ever keep you down. Yeah, we might need to take a little rest, might take a little time off, but we will integrate it. We will allow for ourselves to be the alchemists of the stars, the visionaries, and able to really transform it in real time. So that is the energy of this full moon. Belief systems. Think about your beliefs. Are my beliefs matching? And what are my biggest dreams or desires? Because I'm going to talk about the astrology later on in this month and in the coming months. It's really fucking good. So I'm telling you now, like, get ready. So, but I want you to clear out these weeds first so that when these big opportunities come in, we're not like, oh, like, big opportunity lands and bam, chaotic event happens. No, 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 no. Like when we hold beliefs that something negative is going to happen, when we have a positive thing, that's literally the essence of duality teaching us, hey, like, where do I need to clean this up inside? Where have I been told or shown that I cannot sustain positive energy or even overflow? Right? Why does something, the rug or the shoe has to drop or whatever has to happen? And I really, over the years, like I started with this mentor 3.5 years ago, have completely healed that. And I've been able to really move from the space of, cool, this is not an ideal situation, but let me use it as a tool. Right. And it's all about how we approach it. It's all about how we look at it. It's all about how we move from it. So I invite you into that space. I invite you into that space this full moon. The last thing I'm going to say is that this week will land. The moon will go ahead and land into Cancer this weekend. Very receiving energy. So, what we're going to do on the full moon, I would love for you to do some form of cord cutting ritual. You can just use 2 candles. You can connect them. The way that I personally do it is I connect them with an X in the center. I just use floss, you guys. I'm not like that fancy anymore. I use whatever fuck works. And what I do is I say, okay, what is my desire? I place that candle on the left and I write all of my big desires and think about this. Although also this is the last full moon of 2025. If you got some things you want to leave in 2025, this is the full moon to do it. So all my desires are on the left. On the right, I will write all the reasons why that could never happen, right? All of my mind will go for it. I have a very analytical mind. All the reasons why that could never happen, all the things it doesn't make sense, blah, 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 blah. And then I light both candles and I allow myself to read out loud the desires first and say, I fully receive this. And then I read out loud, I fully release this. And I offer both pieces of paper to their respective candles. That's all you have to do. Because ultimately, what we're doing is that we're recognizing that every light, every desire that we want is going to heal a part or a shadow or a belief system that we're holding on to. Because if you're like me and you're the first woman in your family who has created a high level of success, who went to college, who did all the things, there's a lot of stuff I had to clean up, right? And so ultimately, that is the space, right? So as I heal myself and allow for myself to move forward, I also heal all of the things that I've carried or inherited from my life and give all those past versions of myself and the people who came before me, my ancestors, my grandmothers, everybody who came before me, an opportunity to heal through that process too, because they didn't have the opportunities that I have now. So, with that said, we are going to be doing some really special things in December. I'm just going to give you a few dates to be aware of. 12/11 to 12/14. That is going to be when Sun, Venus, Mars, and Mercury will all be in Sagittarius. Great time to have like a manifesting ritual or something along those lines. You can keep checking back in with us here. I'll always give you some recommendations. And then there's a really powerful new moon on 12/19 that is just hugging solstice. Solstice is one of the most powerful, I would say, 6-month trajectories of just really claiming that timeline. So that's why we're clearing stuff up now, right? Remember, what are the beliefs we're not going to carry with us? So, and then at the beginning of January, we have a triple, kind of like triple cazimi, triple conjunction, whatever you want to say, at least double, but the Sun, Mars, and Venus will all come together in Capricorn, and Capricorn rules wealth, business, investments, success, rules the midheaven. It is like ultimate destiny. So we're going to be doing a really, really special series as well as workshop around that time, which is called Your Wealthiest Year Yet. And we're going to be gathering for an intensive around that time. So please look out for that. If you would like to go ahead and get started with these beautiful wealthiest dates of 2026, you want to start framing your year ahead and be aware of how I've created, the 4-phase model. We have a masterclass going out right now that's called the $1,000,000 Blueprint, and it's literally $11. And I give you my entire sequence of how I've created that success with my personal wheel of time and how my client literally just closed a $196,000 day following this exact model. So with that said, you can comment codes, not on here, but on any of our posts or stories. And then we'll be dropping some more information about that Your Wealthiest Year workshop that is coming up at the beginning of January. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and I'm sending you lots of love.